All right, I want to start talking about something good. I want to start talking about your next holiday, so please think about your plans, your future plans. Maybe some of you are thinking about this summertime, of course, different than what we have today, blue sky, and then you can already picture yourself sitting in front of the sea, enjoying your favorite cocktail, with your suitcase already packed with all the stuff you need to enjoy your holidays. Then the big day arrives, you jump into your car, you start driving, and then I'm sure that none of you thought about this. And this is what happens when you forget to take your car to the garage to have the proper maintenance. So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lucas. I am a manufacturing expert here at Odoo. And today we are going to talk about how we can unlock the full potential of maintenance. Before we start, I invite you to scan the QR code. Then if you have questions, feel free to ask during the presentation. And if you don't have time to do it now, no worries, I will display this QR code again before we finish. So today's agenda will be basically what is a downtime. Then we will see the different types of maintenance and how we can manage each of them in Odoo. And as I said, we close with the Q&A session. Right, so when we talk about downtimes, it's very important to understand that we have two types. The first one is a planned downtime. The situation of our friend that we just saw, if he had taken his car to the maintenance, he would have a downtime, he wouldn't be able to drive his car for a while, but at least he would reach the final destination. But we have also unplanned downtimes, and these are the bad ones that we should try to avoid at all costs. Why? Because unplanned downtimes will lead to interruptions in your production line. And if you have interruptions, for sure, you will have inactivity. Not only the machine that is broken, but also inactivity of people that should be working and they can't. They're just there, crossing their arms, grabbing an extra cup of coffee, and all of these will lead to costs. Not only the cost to repair the machine, but also the cost of paying these people that are there doing nothing, and also the cost of buying more coffee to them. But there is also something important that is implicit here, the opportunity cost. Because if you are not producing, we are not selling. If you are not selling, we are not making money. Not to mention the situations where we have a contract that stipulates that we should deliver products until a given date, and as we are late, this could bring penalties, and all of this in summary is a big loss. Maybe to give you a better context, a study published a couple of years ago shows that a large average plant loses $129 million per year, and this was in 2022. And this number represents 65% more than what was in 2020. So we can clearly see that there is a trend in increasing downtimes in the industry. But maybe to give you concrete numbers, this in average represents 20 incidents per month. So if you think about a plant working from Monday to Friday, this is pretty much one incident per day. And this is about 25 hours per month. Again, think about a plant that works with a 8-hour shift. This is pretty much 3 days that you throw in the garbage because you cannot produce what you are supposed to. That being said, now that you know how bad an unplanned downtime is, let's talk about the different types of maintenance and how we can manage each of them in Odoo. The first one is preventive maintenance. This is something based on time or the usage of an equipment, and it's triggered enough time in advance to avoid a failure. But we also have something called condition-based maintenance. And this is something based on data that we can collect in real time, and therefore we can also trigger this maintenance in real time. And very important here, this is what I would like to emphasize, that now in Odoo 18, thanks to a new feature that I will show in a minute, we can manage condition-based maintenance much more efficiently. The third type of maintenance that we have is corrective. And corrective maintenance usually is triggered when everything is already on fire. But the main point here is to be very efficient and fast in order to solve the issue. and also try to learn from these problems to avoid these issues to happen again. Now that you already know the three different types of maintenance, let's start talking about the preventive one. And here, just to give you a context, the main challenges of a company trying to have efficient preventive maintenance are a calendar that is very accurate, so they need to know what needs to be maintained, when, where, and by who. And this calendar should not overlap with production planning. So let's see in the database how we can manage this situation. I have here in the maintenance app the internal maintenance team, and the first thing that we see here is a pipeline. You might be wondering, so I have only 6 maintenance tasks to be done? No, I have a calendar. I have a lot of tasks from today until the end of the year, let's say. But Odoo in this sense is very smart, because instead of showing a pipe full of tasks, that would be overwhelming and difficult to organize or to find ourselves, Odoo only displays the next task. And here is very interesting, because if we open, for instance, this one, we should definitely use this field here called the recurrent in order to define the recurrency of this cleaning sockets task that I need to perform in my painting machine. And in this case here is in a weekly basis. And I can also define for the same equipment, and again, this is very important, I can define a different task that happens in a different frequency. So in this case, I need to refill the tanks of my painting machine every month. So this gives me a lot of flexibility and accuracy, because for the same equipment, I can manage two or many different schedules. But then coming back to what I was saying before, here I only see the next task. But if I want to see the complete calendar, I just switch here to the maintenance calendar. And for instance, if I move to the month, I can see that my task that I just showed in the painting machine, even though I see in my pipe only one task, here from my calendar, I can clearly see for every single day what I need to do, where, and by who. So each technician can come here, for instance, and see what needs to be done. So this is very good. As you can see, this is the monthly task that I need to do. And just to show you how Odoo works in this case, because if I am performing this maintenance, imagine that I'm going here to clean the sockets, for instance. I am the technician. I will move this task to in progress, and pay attention here, because the scheduled date is October 30. Then, as soon as I move this task to repaired, once I come back to my pipe, I see that Odoo automatically creates the next task according to the periodicity that I defined, which in this case is per week, and this is why the next task should be done the 10th of October, right? So this is absolutely important, and also, as we have a very complete calendar, I need to avoid this calendar to not overlap with my production planning. Imagine this situation. I have a laser cutting machine, and I need to calibrate this machine every week. But I don't want to pay extra money to my employees to come during the weekend, because during the weekend I'm not producing anything. I prefer to do it every Friday afternoon, right? So I have my technician, Michael, assigned here, and I use this checkbox here, Block Work Center, in order to make sure that this work center here, the laser cutting, will be blocked the 4th of October. For the sake of this demonstration, of course, you know, in the real life, we have a lot of manufacturing orders, but just to show you clearly what I want to demonstrate now, I created only one manufacturing order. I will go here, and I see that I have this manufacturing order scheduled precisely at the time my work center is unavailable, right? Is the 4th of October. Now, when I plan this manufacturing order, so the moment where Odoo will try to allocate this work center, the scheduled date automatically goes to the next available slot of this work center, which is the 7th of October. Let's see this in a different way when we check the production planning. I will switch to the daily view. So Friday afternoon, you can see that we have this gray line. This represents that this work center is unavailable. And if we move 2 days ahead, so Saturday, Sunday, all gray because nobody works, then this is the reason why my manufacturing order was scheduled on Monday morning at 8 a.m., the first shift or the first slot that is available for this work center. So this is very important. And this, for preventive maintenance, the calendar, the different recurrencies for the same equipment, plus the possibility to block the work center, definitely shows that we can get rid of these two challenges. But now, let's move on and talk about condition-based maintenance. And here the main challenge in the industry is to avoid our workers neglecting indicators of problems. Let's see here in the database which indicators I'm talking about. I will start by showing you a feature that few people use, or maybe few people know how to use, which is the OEE. OEE is the meaning of overall equipment efficiency. And we can define a target, for example here for my CNC machine, that I want this machine to perform 90% efficiently all the time. I'm not expecting this machine to work 100% efficiently because I might have a downtime, I might have a problem, so 90% was something reasonable, but still, as you can see, Odoo displays this OEE of 67% in red, because of course it's below my target. But before I move on, just to give you a very basic explanation about how Odoo calculates the OEE. Imagine that you have a work order that is supposed to take 1 hour. If you process this work order in 1 hour, then your OEE is 100%, no problem. If you process the same work order of 1 hour in 1 hour and 30 minutes, so this extra time will impair the calculation of your OEE. And the last factor is when you block the work center, when you have a downtime or something, as your work center is not available, this might also impair the calculation of the OEE. So just to give you here a better understanding of how this could be used in our favor to trigger this condition-based maintenance, if I have a CNC machine and if my employees are logging their times accordingly, I can see that during 67 more or less % of the time, my machine was running in good conditions. I have 80% of downtime, so you can see here equipment failure, and 25% of my time was reduced the speed. So something is not going well with my CNC machine, and this is why I could, from this KPI, trigger a maintenance request, could be a preventive one. In my case, if I see what I have here, for instance, I have for the CNC machine 2 already a preventive maintenance scheduled. And just to seize the opportunity to introduce you to a feature that few people know that is here, but is also very important. Imagine that the technician here, in this case, Patricia, she needs to go to the CNC machine, but then, of course, if I have a big number of machines in my shop floor, each machine is configured in a different way, so she needs to know exactly what needs to be done. So besides the notes that you could add here, if you use the instruction tab, and she's going with a tablet, for example, she could easily see everything that needs to be done in order to improve the configuration or maybe to fix this CNC machine. So this is very important because it gives a lot of information to the person on spot. So they don't need to find the documentation somewhere or contact someone. It's everything available very easily, right? And then the second KPI that we can use in order to trigger condition-based maintenance in Odoo 18 is a very nice feature, which is the quality check based on spreadsheet. So imagine that I am here, instead of manufacturing, let me go to the shop floor, and I am using here some work centers. In this case, I am using, let's say here, the laser cutting machine. I go to this work center, and I see that I have a quality check. I will not go over the full steps to produce. I hope you have seen that what's new just before, where they explained everything about the shop floor. But here, let's go straight to the point. I will use this quality check in order to open a spreadsheet, and this gives me a lot of flexibility to configure the way I want to see. For instance, imagine that I have the machine here close to me, and the machine displays the temperature. So I could come here and say that, okay, my temperature is 69 degrees, which is bad. Then in one single quality check, I don't need to have several quality checks. I can centralize everything here. I can already input the vibration rate, which is in my case 47. not good, not bad, but still here. I can visually check if there is any damage, nothing bad, but according to the rule that I use here in my cell, I can get the result of my quality check, and you can configure any rule. It's a spreadsheet to do whatever you want. And this gives you a clear indication that as you are here in the shop floor, you can definitely see that failing this quality check is the right moment to create a maintenance request. Overheating, for instance. Here I'm talking about the work center laser cutting machine. I will ask my internal maintenance team to come here and see what's going on, right? So very important, again, talking about condition-based maintenance, that we can definitely use this forgotten feature of OEE and the new feature of quality check based on spreadsheet to make sure that you have real data or data collected in real time to trigger the maintenance before you have a problem. And that being said, we can go and talk about the last type of maintenance that we have here, which is the corrective one. The main point is that if we failed to prevent an issue, we should be very fast in order to solve the problem. So this is why the main challenges here are lack of responsiveness from the maintenance team, and whatever I do to solve the problem, I need to learn from these lessons in order to avoid situations to happen again in the future. So I need to have this information accessible somewhere. Let's go to the database again, and I will come back to the shop floor because I really want to emphasize the power of having this manufacturing execution system integrated with the maintenance team. Because imagine that I am doing here something with my welding machine, and this welding machine breaks. It's not working anymore. As it's a very important work order that I'm processing now, I will create a maintenance request for my equipment, and just to highlight here that I can choose either equipment or work center. In this case, just an equipment that is in my work center, and I'm talking about my welding machine. And I will select that this is a corrective maintenance, so the maintenance team will receive this information knowing that something needs to be done very fast, and if possible, as I'm highlighting here, the priority, they will know in real time, even though I might be in a far place of my shop floor, the maintenance team will know that they need to come very quickly to solve my problem. Right, this is what I can do as a worker. Now I'm stuck, I cannot process my work order, and again, to have that calculation of OEE very accurate, it's also important that I come here and I block my work center, and the reason is equipment failure. Now, I cannot do anything else here. The ball is with my maintenance team. And before I move on, I just want to emphasize that we can have more than one maintenance team. And in this case, I will just present my team. I will introduce you to the black belts. So these guys are very good. You can close your eyes and you can be sure that they will solve any issue. This is why I reflect this configuration or this list of employees here as a maintenance team. And they will receive this new request. They see that I have top priority to solve this issue. In my case, as the maintenance manager, I will assign, let's say, here Charlotte. I want to, I will schedule for today, but the most important information I want to show here is the possibility to use the worksheet. The worksheet is something that you can do using Studio, so you configure in the way you want, so this gives you a lot of flexibility. And as soon as Charlotte takes this new request, she goes to the welding machine, so she moves here the task to in progress. She will have access to the information I configured previously, so she can analyze the situation and see that, well, the welding machine was completely dirty when she arrived. She can follow some instructions to see if everything was okay. Okay, she checked the junctions, she measured here the electricity. She can take a picture in order to prove that the situation was very bad when she arrived. But in the end, as you can see, the workers opened the maintenance request reporting a failure, which is true in some way. But in the end, Charlotte analyzes that it was not failure, it was improper use because the equipment was super dirty, and then at some point they could weld the objects anymore. So she can close this worksheet complete, repaired, all good, but me, as the maintenance manager, I need to analyze why do I have problems recurrently, and I can go here to the worksheet templates, and I can easily see from all the custom fields that I created according to my needs, what is the root cause of these problems. So 80% of my issues are related to improper use. So it's not definitely something that I should contact my supplier, replace my welding machine. No, I just need to use this information in my favor, maybe talk to someone to give a training about how to use a welding machine or create a better documentation, I don't know, but at least I can learn from the problems that I have in a daily basis in my shop floor and improve the current situation. And the last thing that I need to mention, as we already talked about KPIs, and this is only when I have corrective maintenance requests, is that Odoo will automatically update some KPIs, such as the mean time between failure, the estimated next failure, and also the mean time to repair. So based on that, I can see if, for instance, I should update my calendar, maybe to reduce the frequency of my preventive maintenances, and this is very important also to manage all my machinery. Right, so we just saw that we can eliminate the lack of responsiveness thanks to this great integration between shop floor and the maintenance. And the information, thanks to the worksheet, is accessible and you can customize the way you want. That being said, one of the main reasons of giving this talk is because few people know or few people use the maintenance app because they don't know all the features that we have. This is why I invite you to really implement this app in your projects, because you can pretty much get rid of unplanned downtimes and therefore eliminate the interruptions, the inactivity, the related costs, and all related losses. And before I finish, remember next time you go on holidays, check your car to avoid the situation we saw in the very beginning. Thank you so much, and if you have questions, please scan the QR code, and I'll be glad to answer.
Give the mic.
Well,
Thank you, Lucas. We have a couple of questions for you. If an incident requires maintenance, is the work center automatically blocked?
no, not necessarily, because I might have an incident with an equipment, and I could have a spare equipment, so I don't need necessarily to block the work center to solve this issue.
All right. Can setup time also be taken into account in the OEE calculation? After all, setup is a great potential for improvement.
True, for the moment it's not taken, but it's a very good feedback. Thanks for giving this idea. I will take it to the product owner.
Can we use this module if we are a company providing maintenance to our customers? For instance, we sell machines to our customers and we have to go to their site to perform maintenance. Do you think this maintenance module would be ideal for them?
Well, for the moment you have two options. Either you use the field service app, because it's a more, let's say, adapted app to external purposes, but something that I didn't show here today is the possibility now in version 18 to create property fields for equipments. And this is why you can create a maintenance team called external, and only in the group of equipments also called external, and only for this group you will see property fields that you can name customer, linked to the list of customers, and you can manage the preventive maintenances, the recurrences, using the maintenance app. But depending on the need, I would say that field service could be more appropriate.
All right. And we also have another question. Can the instructions for regular maintenance be improved so that a checklist can be used which is clear to each new use?
Yeah, well, the instruction is a file that we can check, but in this case, I would instead suggest to use the worksheet, the last example that we saw together, to create the checklist according to the need or the instructions to be performed.
All right. Can regular maintenance be suggested from the KPI or does it have to be calculated manually?
I'm not sure which KPI is the case, but for the moment it's a manual action that needs to be done.
All right.
We are not thinking about triggering something automatically because this could also have a side effect. So we prefer to give more freedom to the user. That
Alright.
should be well instructed, of course, but for the moment it's not automated.
All right. Can you connect to an external WCS machine like a WMS as well?
Not in standard, but as Odoo has an API, you can definitely use the API to receive information in real time from the machine and then see what needs to be done in terms of maintenance if we reach a certain condition.
All right. Can we create or attach PDF inspection reports and get an overview of the latest inspection report for a certain equipment?
I'm not sure if I get exactly the question, but I think the person is talking about the worksheet. I know that we can add pictures, but attach files, maybe using the chatter, but maybe if you want, we can check together in the booth. We can maybe see with more detail.
All right. Last question, Lucas. Is there a connection with the warranty process?
Not yet, even though you might see a field called warranty expiration date or something like this, but this is only for informational purposes right now.
All right, I think since we are running out of time, that's it. Questions, we won't be able to answer all that is in the list. If you need specific use cases, you know where to find us.
Yeah, we are in the booth in the end of the hall. Thank you so much.
Well done, guys.
Thank you.
Ah, well done, hein, franchement.